Roswell, Georgia was just named the 12th best place to live in the country and the #1 place to live in Georgia. Niche.com ranks Roswell, Georgia as the 5th best suburb of Atlanta and the 6th best area in Atlanta to raise kids. So if you are thinking about moving to Roswell, Georgia, I'm here to tell you all the good and all the bad about living in Roswell, Georgia, so that you can make the best decision for your move. Now, if you're looking for everything Atlanta and suburb related, you've come to the right place. Be sure to hit subscribe and stay up to date as we post weekly videos about what it's like to live in and around Atlanta, Georgia. So Roswell, Georgia, what is it that everyone is loving about Roswell, Georgia? Why does it continue to hit these top lists of where to live in Georgia and where to live around the country? In today's video, we are going to cover the top 5 reasons to avoid moving to Roswell, Georgia, as well as the top 5 reasons why Roswell might be the perfect fit. So let's dive in and talk Roswell, Georgia. But first, a little history moment. Located on the banks of the Chattahoochee River and originally the home of the Cherokee Indians, the city of Roswell was founded in 1839 by a man named Roswell King, who had just moved here a few years earlier after the big gold rush in Georgia of the 1820s and 30s. Like so many river towns in the day, the town was built around a mill powered by the Chattahoochee River. During the Civil War, Union troops occupied Roswell on their march, their famous march, to Atlanta and then down to Savannah. Luckily, most things were saved in that occupation. Although the mill was destroyed during this occupation, the beautiful and now historic homes that Roswell is known for were thankfully preserved. My first pro is Roswell's historic charm. Now, if the idea of living around history, especially Civil War history, excites you, then Roswell might be perfect for you. Including in all of the historic charm, you're gonna find a multitude of homes, some of them quite famous. Starting with Barrington Hall, this was home to Roswell King, Roswell's founder. Today, it is still situated on a beautiful hilltop that conveniently, back in the day, overlooked the town that was named for him. There's also Bullock Hall, which is considered to be one of the most significant homes in the state of Georgia. Mitty Bullock grew up here, met a young man from the prominent Roosevelt, New York City family, and wed him in this home in Christmas of 1853. This marriage produced a U.S. president, Teddy Roosevelt. Now, there's also Smith Plantation right near the historic district of downtown Roswell. And this used to be a 300-acre farm, and it is so well preserved. Unfortunately, the son of the owner of this plantation died during the Civil War, and something about that caused this family to keep everything. Other sites include Kimball Hall, Naylor Hall, the old mill, the beautiful covered bridge, and downtown Roswell. Okay, so that brings me to my first con, which is going to be affordability. Now, we are going to pay special attention to home prices and property taxes. Let's start with single-family homes. The median sales price of a single-family home in Roswell, Georgia, as of this video, is right at $740,000. And that $740,000 price tag, well, that's 44% higher than the U.S. national average for a single-family home. If you're open to a condo or a townhome in Roswell, the affordability opens up a bit more. The median sales price for an attached home in Roswell as of this recording is right at $558,000, which is up 14% from April of 2023. All this to say, owning a home in Roswell is still more affordable than 2 of the neighboring towns of Alpharetta and Milton, where you can expect to pay anywhere from 7 to 49% more for a home there. Now let's flip over to property taxes. So the city of Roswell is located in Fulton County in Georgia. Fulton County is tied with Gwinnett County for the highest property taxes in the state. Not only do you have high Fulton County taxes, but you also, in most parts of Roswell, have City of Roswell taxes. So On a property assessed at about $700,000, your property tax bill would be approximately $6,500 for the year. This brings me to my next pro, and this is one of my favorite things about Roswell, and that's all of the outdoor activities. So with over 22 parks alone, Roswell has some of the most outdoor attractions of anywhere else in the state, including prime access to its most popular attraction, which is the Chattahoochee River. So if you're a kayaker or a stand-up paddleboarder or a fisherman or woman or anything like that, you have miles of shoreline to drop in or stand by, and I promise you, you will love it so much. Roswell also has its own boardwalk. The boardwalk is actually a trail system that goes over the top of the river. And it's a beautiful way to spend a Sunday afternoon or an evening strolling the 2 miles there and the 2 miles back. I promise it is one of the most beautiful things that you will see in the state of Georgia. Let's talk about sports, because sports are a big thing in Georgia and certainly in Roswell. For we have everything from rugby to football to soccer to tennis and everything in between that you can imagine at one of the various sports complexes around Roswell. Now, if you don't feel like getting sweaty, perhaps you'd rather spend some time outdoors shopping, and you can do that almost all year round in Roswell. So Roswell hosts 2 arts festivals, one in the spring and one in the summer, which is a really fun way to get out, meet your neighbors, and support some locally owned businesses while you sip on a cocktail and walk around and shop. Roswell also has its own share of live music, especially at the Riverwalk. That's one of my favorite places to see live music. And when the weather is nice, there are free outdoor concerts. Bring your blanket and your chair, some wine and some food, and just enjoy being outside close to home and listening to live music. It's one of the funnest things to do. All right, jumping back over into something you need to know about that might not be considered so great about Roswell, and that's going to be the public school system. Now, let's start with elementary schools. Roswell has 10 public elementary schools, and 6 out of 10 of those elementary schools actually do rank a 7 to 10 out of 10 on greatschools.org. Those elementary schools are Mountain Park Elementary, Sweet Apple, Northwood, River Eaves, Roswell North, and Hillside Elementary. The 4 that don't make that list are Vickery Mill, Hembury Springs, Mimosa, which you would think would be a fun school, and Jackson. Those all rank between 3 to 5 out of 10 on greatschools.org. Now, jumping over to the middle school, there are 3 middle schools in the Roswell public school system. Those are Crabapple, Elkins Point, and Holcomb Bridge. I have a son that actually goes to Crabapple Middle School, and he's had a fantastic experience there. It's also the newest middle school in Roswell. I think the reason why the school system made my con list is because if you're really hyper-focused on great public schools, you have the surrounding areas to also shop in. You've got Cobb County Schools, which has some of the best schools in the state and the country. A lot of those are going to score anywhere between 8, 9, and 10 out of 10 on great schools. You also have other areas of Fulton County like Alpharetta and Milton. Milton High School is a 10 out of 10 on great schools, as is some of the schools in Alpharetta. So when you're considering Roswell and public schools are a factor, you may decide to go to Cobb County or go a little bit more north and get into a better school district. When it comes to high schools, Roswell has 2 high schools. One is Roswell High School, and the other is Centennial High School. Both of those rank 7 out of 10 on greatschools.org. But again, just down the road, you've got Walton High School in Cobb County, which ranks 10 out of 10. You also have Lassiter High School that's 10 out of 10. Then you have Milton High School that's 10 out of 10. So if you're willing to go outside of Roswell, you actually can get better high schools and better middle schools. Let's head over to another pro, and this pro actually could be the number one reason why you choose Roswell, and that is the location. So Roswell is conveniently located just off of Georgia 400, which is the main interstate that will take you from the northern suburbs like Roswell into the city and then down to the airport. You're only about 30 minutes from the city of Atlanta, which makes commuting and going into the city to do fun things really easy and really fast. Something else to note about the convenience of Roswell is that it's surrounded by these little historic towns. And so within 10 to 15 minutes, you can be in downtown Woodstock, downtown Marietta, downtown Milton or Alpharetta, and really get out and enjoy some really unique dining and shopping opportunities. Let's go to the next con. And I'm gonna be honest, this one's a little tricky because it could be a con and it could be a pro. But Roswell does tend to lean a little bit more liberal. So if you're looking for a place that's staunchly conservative or leans more conservative, then Roswell, Georgia may not be the area for you. If you'll take a look at this map, you can see below the political leanings of people in and around Roswell. Darker red areas have more Republican voters, and obviously blue swings more Democrat. Compared to the nation as a whole, Roswell does lean more Democratic. Let's stay with the pros, and now I want to talk about crime in Roswell. When you're moving to a new place, understanding how safe or unsafe it is hugely important. Roswell is one of the lowest crime areas in not just Metro Atlanta in the state, but in the country as well. In fact, violent and property crime rates are well below the national average. Violent crime is 10.9 in Roswell. The U.S. average is 22.7. For property crimes in Roswell, 28.9 is the statistic, and that's compared to the U.S. average of 35.4. Niche.com rates Roswell in terms of crime as a B-. The city of Roswell has actually been ranked one of the safest cities to live in the U.S. according to city crime rankings. Let's go back over to the con list, and I want to talk about weather. Now, obviously, this is not Roswell specific, but if you're watching this video and you're considering making a move from some of the places in New England or the Midwest or even the Pacific Northwest or California, you might be used to completely different weather than what we have here, especially in the summer months. So first of all, I will say Roswell has over 220 days of sun-filled weather, which is amazing. The most pleasant months of the year in Roswell are going to be in probably that April, May, and then again in September, October. It just feels so good. You've got temperatures in the 60s and 70s in all four of those months, and humidity is low. But let's talk about humidity for a second. Again, not Roswell specific, but the hottest month of the year is going to be in July, where temperatures are going to get into the 90s, but the heat index is going to feel sometimes like it's in the high 90s or low hundreds. And humidity can be off the charts. I mean, some days we have 100% humidity. A lot of days it's about 50 to 60% humidity in not just, again, Roswell, but in Georgia. So if you're moving to Georgia and you're moving to Roswell, it's no different than other areas of the Southeast where you're going to have some hot and humid summer months. Now, swinging over to the winter months, if you are looking for something snowy, this is not the place for you. When we do get snow here, it is typically in January, and it's going to just be a light dusting. Typically, though, what you'll find is in the really, really cold months where we do get some precipitation, you're going to have some patches of black ice. Let's talk about one last con. And I think that if you live anywhere in Metro Atlanta, you're going to be dealing with this con, or even in the city, but it's going to be traffic. So when you live in Roswell, you've got some major arteries that run through. You've got 92, which is also Holcomb Bridge Road. You have Georgia 400. You have 120. So you've got some big, big roads that run through Roswell. And a lot of people will travel them, whether it's for work or if it's for play or whatever it is. But just know that there is some additional traffic in Roswell. I personally think it's not that bad. It does get you, again, you're close to the city, you're closer to the airport, and with that comes increased traffic, right? So I hope that what you've gotten from this video are some really good insights into what it's like to truly live in Roswell, Georgia, both the good and the bad, but also there's not a lot of bad. And don't forget, if you're considering a move in 2 months or 2 years, my team and I are here to help you and help make this move into Atlanta or maybe the suburbs of Atlanta. Reach out on text or phone or email or hit us up on Zoom with the link below in the description, and we'll see you at the next video.